Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and it's Armageddon again. The aliens have returned. The aliens. And of course, I go out to greet them because apparently I am the person who has been elected to greet them. In my defense, I'm an American and I couldn't possibly be any worse at it than our president, since, the one that can't finish a complete sentence or a complete thought. So I've been elected, so I go out to greet them. They're walking down the walkway of their spaceship, and at this point, my greeting is, "What do you want?" That's just where I'm at with these aliens at this point. And the aliens are like, "So, we understand we've learned some new stuff about Doctor Who, and apparently there are this thing called the Ice Warriors. Come for our Ice Warrior stories." By now, they probably have our Ice Warrior stories, but they come for our Ice Warrior stories. Yes, we have Ice Warriors. Well, we want you to know that we're going to take some of your Ice Warrior stories, or, let me guess, or you're going to destroy the planet and everyone on it. How could you possibly know that? That's classified. Because that's the exact same thing you threatened to do last time. And the 17 times before that. At least they're consistent. So apparently we are allowed to keep 2 Ice Warrior stories, which there's only been 6 Ice Warrior stories. So we get to keep a third of them. That's better than it could have been. So we're allowed to keep 2 Ice Warrior stories out of the 6. Which 2 would you keep and why? This was a tricky one because I know I couldn't possibly keep my 2 favorite Ice Warriors stories because there would be a riot in the fandom, because my 2 favorite Ice Warrior stories are the modern Who Ice Warrior stories. I've talked about that when I was ranking them recently, and that would not end well for me. It might not be Armageddon for the planet, but it would be Armageddon for me. So I had to pick 2, and I knew immediately it wasn't going to be the Ice Warriors because the Ice Warriors drags, and it's partly missing anyway, even though the animation's fine. No, I would pick Seeds of Death as my first choice. I think you need a Troughton story. First off, the idea of losing a complete Troughton story just really makes me go cold because we've lost enough complete Troughton stories way back when, and we only have 7 of them left. So I would say Seeds of Death. I like Seeds of Death. I mean, it's probably my 5th least favorite. Yeah, the only one I like it more than is Ice Warriors, but it's good. It's nice. It's Troughton. I love Troughton. It's got some good stuff going on in it. Again, it drags a little, but not like the Ice Warriors does. It's fine. It's got some good cliffhangers. I enjoy the guest cast a lot in it too, for the most part. I like the Seeds of Death, so I would definitely keep the Seeds of Death as my first one. The hard part was the second one. And this video would be a lot easier if I was allowed to keep 3, which is the reason why I'm only allowing everyone to keep 2. I had to make it challenging. It was too easy if I could pick 3 and keep half of them. And it basically boiled down to Curse of Peladon and Cold War. Because I love Empress of Mars, but I knew I could only possibly keep 1 modern one, and Empress of Mars would take the back burner. I like Cold War a little more. And then I also like the Peladon stories, but I prefer Curse mainly just because it's shorter. And I feel like the Peladon stories don't need to be 6 parts, even though I love Sarah Jane in Monsters of Peladon. That's one of the best. When it comes to Sarah Jane being written as the character, that's one of the best writing performances. I love how she is in Monsters of Peladon. So that really pulls that story up for me. But between the 2, I would pick Curse. I like the fact it's shorter, and I just enjoy the story a little more. So it was basically between Curse and Cold War, and I ended up going with Cold War just because I do like it a lot more. Cold War is a great episode. If people can look at it and kind of ignore any modern Who bias they might have, it's a really good adventure. Matt Smith is great in it. You have David Warner in it, the Unbound Doctor, even though he's not playing the Unbound Doctor. We actually have David Warner in Doctor Who proper. And he's great in it. And he's like listening to Duran Duran. I love that. And him and Clara click pretty well, I like. I love what they do with the Ice Warrior in this one. The fact we learned that the suit is an arm. It makes sense it gives them a good excuse to have the Ice Warriors without having to update their design, because I don't tend to like when they update classic villain designs much. Look how they ruined the Silurians. So it gives them an excuse to have that old school Ice Warrior design by explaining it's a suit that they wear and they don't come out of it because that's kind of like a disgraceful, dishonorable thing to do. I love that. And then once he's out of the suit, you have this kind of aliens on the Nostromo? Nostromo? Isn't that what it was on? Nostromo? My mind went blank for a second. You know, running around, slithering around, and you're in this claustrophobic, you know, you're in a submarine, so it's small, it's claustrophobic, it's closed in. It's almost a base under siege in a submarine, looking for this thing that's scurrying around in the dark. Again, giving you some kind of Aliens vibes, while not being as creepy as Aliens is. And it has a good resolution at the end that turns out to be a mostly peaceful resolution, which I like. And we get to see the Sonic's red setting. I would pick that one over Curse, personally. So my two would be the Seeds of Death and Cold War. Although, I like all of the Ice Warrior stories to one degree or another. I don't think they've ever had a story that's just a grand slam, knocking it out of the park story. But I don't think they've ever had a bad story either. Again, my least favorite is the Ice Warriors, and it's fine. It's fine. It drags a lot, and Victoria's useless in it. But other than that, it's fine. So I tend to like all of them. But those are the two I would keep. I want to know which two you would keep if you were the elected official, and quite frankly, you can have it. To speak to the aliens next time they invade. Someone else can take a turn at it. Which two would you keep and why? So comment down below and let me know. Other things to do, don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button. We're knocking on the door to 1,000 subscribers, and I certainly appreciate it. I also have a Patreon. If you would like to support me that way, there's a link to that down there as well. My entry level tier is only $2 a month. Get access to exclusive videos and early access to a lot of videos. Most of my videos actually go up as early access. They're almost all of them. Sometimes very early access, the way videos get moved around. I want to give a shout out to some of my top 10, I want to give a shout out to some of my top tier patrons, Stephen Crane, Colin Coney, and Finn Perkins. I appreciate their support, as I do the support of all of my patrons. I also have a YouTube membership available that I have just been approved as a YouTube partner. You can find a link to that down there as well, with different levels, tiers, whatever you want to call them, with nice exclusive stuff in there too. I also have a P.O. box if there's anything you'd like to send me to look at and review, and a link to my Amazon wish list is also down there. Most importantly, thank you for watching.